The Ramp is a very charming barebones skateboarding game that was released August 3rd, 2021, much to my own surprise because I'm usually on top of these releases. Created by Hyperparadise, the game flew completely and totally under my radar until about a week ago when I saw the Vice review for it randomly hit my Twitter feed. It's a simple yet evocative game. It sounds like it should have a badass 80s trailer introduction. The Ramp, only in theaters August 3rd. I mean, I'm me, so obviously I knew I had to pick it up right away. So here's a bit of my experience on it. There are very few frills with the Ramp, and yet it still oozes so much style and fun. Just as the name implies, it's just you, the skater, and the ramp. It sort of feels like a throwback to a time in skating when half-pipes and pools were king and the Bones Brigade were at the peak of their fame. Small is the name of the game here. So small, in fact, it seems like an antithesis to the kinds of skateboarding games we've been seeing thus far. On one hand, you've got big, realistic games like ERRRskate, Session, and Skater XL, and on the other, you have wacky, larger-than-life combo-heavy titles like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Ollie Ollie 2. Then right there, just on the tip of your pinky finger, you've got the Ramp. That isn't meant to disparage it in any way. The game feels shockingly powerful for just how petite it is. Everything about it is tiny, from the game's isometric view, its little bag of tricks, and the rather deliberate lack of content. There are only 4 levels, including a run-of-the-mill half-pipe, an empty pool, an elaborate bowl, and a mega ramp. It's pretty similar to other games of its scale and ilk, and I'm surprised it wasn't also released on mobile platforms. With a $5 price point, it would fit right in at home with other small skate titles. I think it would make an excellent addition to iOS or Android. Skate City is very successful on mobile platforms, and the Ramp is scaled back even further and arguably just as fun. It seems like a perfect game to play minutes at a time since there are no real goals or objectives. With its isometric angle, it very much reminds me of the Game Boy Advance version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. There are far less tricks and no moving camera for the most part, with the Mega Ramp being the exception. It also calls back to a simpler time in skateboarding games and seems like it would fit right in with games from the 80s like Skate or Die or 720 Degrees. The game also lacks a points counter, foregoing traditional scoring structures, and just lets you have fun as you see fit, which is pretty cool. There's also a hardcore mode where landing tricks is slightly less forgiving, but it seems kind of inconsequential. The graphics are simple yet engaging. It's all basic 3D polygonal models and a very saturated color palette. Since the game is so small, it's a great way to give it some volume. Make it nice and loud so its scale doesn't diminish its stature. The character animation is basic, but neat and effective. Ollie Ollie has something similar, but implements its own color palettes in far different ways. It also makes it stand out a bit more in a world where skateboarding games now come in every shape, size, and color. You know, I guess you gotta have a gimmick now. The gameplay can be a bit jarring at first, but it's very easy to catch on. The game is so small in scale, literally everything about how to play is covered in a 2-minute tutorial. I read a review that said it was very easy to pick up, difficult to master, and that's a very fitting description. Pumping Transition is the name of the game and the road to success here. Learn it soon and learn it well. Once you get into the flow of the game, it's a small and interesting look at a part of skating that's taken a bit of a back burner to street skating for its far more accessible cousin. Pumping to gain speed is built into the very fabric of the game, controlled by measured press and releases of the A button, and is your lifeline for big airs and better mobility. Once you get a better handle on it, you can start spin grabbing to your heart's content, and there's a rhythm to it that's kind of foreign to games of the genre. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is basically on rails when it comes to transition and vert skating, and the Skate series has approached the concept very differently as well. God, so side note, when I was gathering footage for this video, I went through some Tony Hawk's Underground for GBA, and I was doing the character creation when... Oh my god. Where the fuck is his face? Oh god, no. The sound design is very impressive. It's kind of easy to write off sound design in such a small game, but it consistently nails the sound of skateboarding to great effect. And I feel like when smaller games do sound design well, it really gives them an extra punch. The impact when you crash and fall also carries a lot of weight. The grind sound effect is a bit generic, especially considering board slides don't really sound like that. Slide tricks sound more like this. I think that grind sound is just too commonly associated with grinds on a skateboard, and that's just what's expected now. And I can't argue with the results, there's just a satisfying punch that comes with it. Again, there really isn't much to address here since there really isn't a lot to the game. And so far I'd say I'd given the game considerable praise, but it does have a couple of interesting foibles. While the approach is delightfully minimalist, I think in some respects it's a bit too much so. I can respect its lack of flip tricks and the fact that grabs are limited to 6 directions of the right stick, but in some ways it's still a bit too minimal. For example, I'd like to see some more grind and slide tricks than the default board slide in the game. It doesn't need to be that much, but like, you know, a 50-50 here, a Smith grind there would be nice to see. It could be integrated into the current gameplay. Use the right bumper to initiate the grind, then use the stick to determine which grind you do. I mean, it seems kind of simple, but I don't make games, so I really can't tell you. This is an admittedly very small gripe, but some of the tricks are also mislabeled. The Japan air is actually a method air. It's nowhere close to making or breaking the game, it's just a thing I noticed. I also found a funny little animation glitch on the bowl when you try to exit a board slide over the gap. Overall, the ramp is a simple, fun, slightly flawed, and paradoxically ambitious experience that's fun enough to keep a gamer's attention for short bursts and definitely worth the $5. Again, I think it would have thrived more on mobile platforms, but maybe they're going to do that in the future. Who knows? I don't know their plans. But I'm certainly glad it came to Steam, and I'll definitely shuffle it into my gaming rotation every once in a blue. I keep saying it time and time again. More skateboarding games are always a good thing, and the ramp is here to prove that you don't need all the bells and whistles to make a competent skateboarding game. Thanks for watching the video. I've already started work on my next couple of videos, including that long promised video on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, and a non-skate related video, so look for that in the future. And if you're new to the channel, I would definitely appreciate it if you'd like to subscribe for future gaming and skating content. I love talking about this stuff, so I plan on making vids more often. Sometimes life just kind of gets in the way. But thanks again, and have a great day. Overall, the ramp is a simple, fun, slightly fold